Greater Works by Lillian de Waters, 1945, Chapter 3. The Way of the Heart. Sacred writings of the East contain vitally illuminative words relative to our way to perfection as follows. Quote, "The self is subtler than the subtle, greater than the great. It dwells in the heart of every living being. Yet it is unperceived by ordinary mortals because of its subtlety. It cannot be perceived by the senses. A finer spiritual sense is required. The self is the indivisible essence of everything, that upon which all existence rests. The self cannot be attained by the study of the scriptures, nor by intellectual perception, nor by frequent hearing of it. Whom the self chooses, by him alone is it attained. To him the self reveals its true nature. We may imagine that by much study we can find out God. Knowledge only comes through direct perception, and direct perception is possible for those alone who are pure in heart and spiritually awakened. Although he is alike to all beings and his mercy is on all, yet the impure and worldly minded do not get the blessing because they do not know how to open their hearts to it. He who longs for God, him the Lord chooses, because to him alone can he reveal his true nature. End of quote from the Upanishads. Wonderful words indeed, deep, stirring, self-convincing. Many may have wondered why all do not desire truth alike, and all know truth the same, since God is identical in all. The answer is now made plain in the above quotation. Our own Bible, coincides with it as follows. Quote, "Draw nigh to God, and he will draw nigh to you. Him that cometh to me, I will in no wise cast out. No man can come to me except the Father draw him." John 6:37-44. Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. Matthew 5:6. All illumined teaching declares that in order for one to receive light and illumination, he must humbly and truly thirst for it and desire it above all other desires. Things of spirit are the real and the eternal things of God. They alone experience them who are spiritually awakened and have proof of God within their own heart. The spiritually awakened cannot accept the mental way because they know the very word mental to be contrary to the one mind. Mental pertains to those who claim a mind of their own. Thus their very foundation is duality, double-visioned, double-tongued, multiple minds, thoughts, methods. Mental practice deals with mental cause, mental effect, mental sickness, mental healing, mental conditions, mental treatments, none of which belongs to God, who is one divine mind. The term demonstration also implies duality. One may demonstrate over a certain sickness, but he shall continue subject to other discords, and so be in need of further healing. In fact, it will be a continuous program. Identification with the mind of one's own is the very source of all tribulation. How vain the theory of man, that he can heal the very things he himself has created out of darkness. Man can treat sickness from now until doomsday, and never can he bring sickness to an end. Only when he humbles himself and turns himself completely to the one God will tribulation be wiped from the earth. Personal application of personal doctrines frees no one, for there is no spiritual gain in mental practice. Whatever gain one believes he has made is temporal, belonging to a man living in a human state. Quote from Mildred Hayward. The struggle in his face, terrific and deep, searching for peace through nights without sleep, through days of endeavor to win spirit through flesh, to disentangle himself from earth's mesh. Where is scientific reasoning? Not in God. Where is mental work? Not in the one mind. Human, material, and mental ways of feeling are of man, who is ever attempting to improve himself, and so to increase his days here on earth as a human being. They are good for man, they are legitimate for man, but never should they be confused with the spiritual way of Christ. The Christ or absolute way reveals our spiritual way to spiritual wholeness, harmony, and peace, to be in our surrender of the personal and mental for our identification with the one God, the one Christ, the one body, the one universe, the one existence. I am that I am. One cannot find his heart until he is willing to put things of man and mind aside. To repeat, one cannot find his heart until he is willing to put things of man and mind aside. As soon as truth shines in his heart, he will begin to transcend the apparent duality of his nature. Then he will know that which is beyond mind and thinking. The true seeker may wonder, how can I know that which is beyond mind and thinking? He sees that if God could be known mentally by human mind and thinking, then God knowledge would be like any other knowledge, perishable and non-eternal. In place of his humility and wonderment, his sense of duality vanishes, and the cause of his ignorance and limitation is gone. Well may the question be asked, if I must lay down my personal sense, as the Bible states, and let the divine mind be all of me, how can I do this? If I turn from my thinking, I am destitute of any way of procedure, since I have no way of thinking except by this mind. Heed the answer carefully. Unknown to those who have accepted a mind of their own as their only way of thinking, their only way to God and to the things of His kingdom, there exists the true way to God, which is the way of the heart. This true way is the way of love. Our first commandment is, Thou shalt love, Matthew 22:37. And the second commandment reiterates the first, Thou shalt love, Matthew 22:39. Subtly concealed in our Bible, in the word heart, is our way of deliverance. The mystical meaning of the word heart is love and devotion. One's first step, therefore, away from personality, mentality, and duality is to love God supremely and all-absorbingly as His perfect mind, His perfect life, His perfect being. This very instant, His renunciation of personal mind has begun. A warm glow of peace comes effortlessly over him. Love is real. Love is spirit. From now on, he will think from the seat of his heart, for the heart is known by the illumined to be the seat of divine mind and divine thinking. They alone have found purity in their heart who can see the things of the real and spiritual and are identified as the one divine mind. Love restores us to our own. When one believes himself to be a human being in a human existence, dependent upon a spurious mind to conduct him to heaven, he is asleep to his real self, as one in a dream. The true way out of sleep into reality is the way of love. Our entire Bible contains the story of our sleep and our way out of it into everlasting life, the revelation to us of divine love. Love is our deliverer and our deliverance. Quote, the preparations of the heart in man is from the Lord. Proverbs 16:1. The pure in heart shall see God. Matthew 5:8. Only purity can behold purity. Only perfection can enter perfection. God has given us a heart to love Him and to hear His voice. God is love. Therefore we must come to God through love. God is the all-pure. Therefore we must come to God through purity. The heart alone can turn to God in love and be pure enough to be our way out of sleep. Love frees us from the dream of separateness. Spiritual illumination shows us how to render to man the things that are man's, and to God the things that are God's. God's way is the universal way, the spiritual way, the only way, the way of the heart. This way shuts out mental thinking altogether. Today, many would willingly pay any price just to escape from their own thinking. The perfect way exists. Not only can one bring his personal thinking to an end, but he can arise out of sleep and be his real self in spiritual existence now. Dear friends, love the ways of God. Love the things of God. Love to be obedient to God. Love to watch for light to be revealed to you from within yourself. Love the absolute fact that even now your perfect and wholeness are with you. They are present right where you are. Your happiness is in living in the light of the One Self. Your joy is in receiving self-illumination. Your every need is taken care of spontaneously, naturally, as you live in the light and the love of the Eternal. Keep turning from thinking to loving, and your amazement will be great and your freedom self-evident. Everything of spirit relates to the heart. Our wholeness and peace are the natural harmony of our being. Our spiritual realization is our all-sufficiency. Our faith and trust in reality itself constantly expands into self-revelation. Believing in the one mind alone, we make no attempt to change anyone or anything. The one mind practices no healing. The one mind gives no treatments. With its own brightness, it reveals its own perfection everywhere. Spirit loves spiritual things. Our love is coupled with truth in words such as inspiration, intuition, illumination, light, glory, revelation, oneness, allness, unity. These words are living bread to us, substance itself. Blessed are they who know with the real eternal mind. Blessed are they who love with a pure, devoted heart. Then, taking no thought for demonstration, spontaneously, naturally, they experience the eternal now. Eternal love, radiance, light, oneness, beauty, joy, peace throughout eternity. Already many have found the way of the heart to be the Christ way and have entered even now into life everlasting, into truth ever abiding, into peace and joy ever expanding and rejoicing. They see reality by that which is real in itself, Christ illumination. Important spiritual activities expounded in the Bible, relating us to our true spiritual existence, are found in such words as the following: come, see, behold, perceive, learn, hear, hearken, feel, believe, receive, take, let, abide. As we experience these activities of mind, they spontaneously increase our faith and trust in reality itself. Hence, they continually bring us into greater and more effulgent light, illumination, and glory. We can even hear the voice, feel the touch, and be aware of the presence. Dear friend, loving the real and the eternal supremely, you will not be void of thinking. Thoughts will spring from your heart spontaneously, and they will be exalted, happy thoughts, thoughts of joy, wonder, peace. Inspirational thinking is the natural activity of the self. One would not attempt to control it personally any more than he would attempt to control his breathing. Our thinking never gives us any concern once we have found the way of devotion and abide steadfastly in it. Quote, to him that overcometh will I give to eat of the tree of life, which is in the midst of the paradise of God. Revelation 2:7. What is it that we are to overcome? Not sin, sickness, and death, as though these were each a thing of itself to be treated and healed. We are to overcome the sense of separateness and of personal mind which creates them. When this is accomplished through our spiritual awakening as the real self, then no longer is there duality. There is the single self. Shadows called sickness or suffering cannot be found in the brightness of our glory. It is Christ's power. It is omnipotence. Humbly, earnestly, completely relinquishing any claim to a mind of our own, immediately we are aware of love. Our thinking is gloriously wonderful and happy. We know we are the truth. We think with our real mind. We live in spiritual existence. We are the self alone. Our abundance, happiness, and wholeness are revealed to us. The spiritual light of ourself is greater than the light of sun or stars. It is the light of the heavenly city within us. We walk in our own light safely and securely. Everyone will begin to feel peace and calm the very instant he turns from a mind of his own. He walks with God. He talks with God. Troubles vanish. He knows not when or how. He recalls the promise, quote, perfect love casteth out fear. 1 John 4:18. He asks himself the question, what is perfect love? Immediately the answer comes to him. perfect love is love for the perfect. He knows then that he has perfect love, for he loves the perfect with all his heart. We love our wholeness. We love our God self. We believe implicitly that God's works are finished from the foundation of the world. This is the glorious truth that we love. In our perfect loving of reality itself, we have no fear, we have no sickness, we have no sorrow. We are no longer a man, we are no longer a human existence. We have entered into oneness. We behold the all as unity. Beloved, seek God where God is to be found, in the depths of your own heart. Face God within yourself. In the brightness of the light, you will find your wholeness, harmony, and security to be your living and eternal reality. Man, unenlightened to the true and real way of love in the heart, seeks to heal the shadows of his sleep by physical and mental ways of his own. He has discovered that by making use of his own thinking, he can cure his own ills as well as the ills of others. This way, however, does not bring wholeness, peace, or security. At any moment, he is subject to other limitations. The sorrowful tragedy is that even though he knows his mind to be unpredictable, unsound, and subject to fear and death, still he believes that through his personal right thinking, he can elevate and translate it into the mind of Christ. The way to peace, wholeness, and security is the way of the Spirit. Spiritual enlightenment. By light, love, and purity in the heart, we may enter in through the gates into the city. Revelation 22:14. Never attempt to heal a man or a thing. See reality instead. See the one being to include all. See the spiritual universe to be the only world there is. Whom or what would you treat? Surely not the divine mind? Surely not things of reality? Is it not gross darkness to treat a personal mind? How can there be a personal mind if God is all, and God is one, and God is infinite mind? He who treats personal minds has not yet removed the veil from his own eyes. He needs to interpret aright the spiritual instruction of the Master as follows. Quote, cast out first the beam out of thine own eye, and then shalt thou see clearly to pull out the mote that is in thy brother's eyes. Luke 6:42. What is the beam? The personal belief of many instead of spiritual awareness of the one. Why treat an unreal mind or a thing that is not real? Where is the place of unreality? Quote, what is the chaff to the wheat, says the Lord? Jeremiah 23:28. Who art thou that hast feared continually every day because of the fury of the oppressor, as if he were ready to destroy? And where is the fury of the oppressor? Isaiah 51:12-13. Until one lets personality die, casts out the ego sense, he sees multiplicity everywhere instead of the infinite one. Furthermore, who is it that does the treating? Not the all pure divine mind? What mind then? It must necessarily be an assumptive, unreal mind. Through purity of the heart alone, one can see the perfect by the perfect and understand the glorious reality. Quote, for there is one God, and there is none other but He. Mark 12:32. This spiritual light and awareness is that of the Self, the Christ, where we are all one. Quote, so we, being many, are the one body in Christ, and every one members one of another. Romans 12:5. Awake, redeemed, alive forevermore, we are verily the house of God, which is the church of the living God. 1 Timothy 3:15. Beloved, love purity, love singleness of vision, love things of reality, love to sacrifice personal self. Spiritual loving blots out the ego sense. Spiritual loving brings spiritual light. Spiritual loving brings freedom from fear, sickness, sorrow. In spiritual love, we are the illumined mind. We are imperishable life. We are the children of light and the children of day. We hear the Eternal's voice saying, quote, I have chosen you out of the world. I have given you a heart to find me. I have given you a will to worship me. I have given you a love to leave all for me. You are drawing nigh to me, and I am drawing nigh to you. We are one. Keep your heart flooded with light. Fill your heart with holier desires. I always hear you. You are mine. I am with you always. I am yours eternally. Glorify thou me.